Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of ArmTalk. I'm your host, Jody Williams, and today or tonight, wherever you're from, my guest is Ryn Johnston from the Midwest. Ryan, what's going on, buddy?
Not much. Thanks for having me, Jody.
Yes. We are on the brink of Fallen Heroes number 10. So think about that. The 10th Fallen Heroes, and you've had some big events in the past with various athletes in there. And so, for some reason, and I've been there before. I've been to a Fallen Heroes event before, and I know the array of talent that shows up, the array of talent that's always there. So, but this one's going to be very, very special, than any of the other ones. So, before we get too far into that, you want to go ahead and explain to everybody in the chat, why is this one so special?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's two reasons. The first one's not nearly as important as the second reason. The first reason is it's the 10th one. I've been doing this for 10 years. It's not the 10th Fallen Heroes during COVID. My daughter was born the Friday before, like literally the day of weigh-ins.
Gotcha.
But I had planned for that to happen. So I had Denise Waddles and Leonard come in. I think Leonard actually ended up getting COVID in the middle of COVID, coincidentally enough, so he couldn't make it. But Denise was there to run brackets. Brian Kerner and Michael Ware helped me run the tournament, and we rebranded it as NatFit Midwest Open. So it's another big event that we used to do around here. And that would have been the fifth or sixth one. So this is actually Fallen Heroes 9, but I decided it's the 10th one. It's the 10th year of it, so we're doing Fallen Heroes 10. So 10 years of doing this charity event. It's the first event I really ran. And then the second reason is Bo Olson. He has stage 4 cancer. If you know Bo, you probably know all about it by now. If you've followed anything I've done, I've been blasting out there. This is the second event I've done for him to raise money. He's one of the top 5 arm wrestlers in the country at 210, 220 pounds.
Yes.
Literally while he had stage 4 cancer, and this is a serious form of cancer. I don't know if he's put out exactly the type yet, so I'm being vague intentionally there. But it's not a good kind. I mean, there's never a good kind of stage 4, but it's not one that you just do treatments for a few months and you beat it. He's in it for the long haul, but he's had a lot of very good progression with his treatments and things like that so far. So we're hopeful that the long-term outcome is going to be great. But either way, while this man had stage 4 cancer, he went to my event last August and he had a pain in his side. And he, at that time they were trying to figure out what was going on. He went up there and beat Brent Rockers, one of the best pullers in the country, right-handed, very quick. I mean, Bo's a quick puller, and just to show the level of strength that he was at while he was dealing with stage 4 cancer is incredible. And I'm glad that was his kind of last outing before he got the full diagnosis. And now he's in the middle of, 3 different kinds of chemo and doing radiation treatments and things like that. And the man is putting on weight, maintaining weight, and I think he's kind of training a little again back on the table because he's got a good regimen of drugs that he's taking right now to help him feel as good as possible while he's going through this chemo. So it's a really important cause for that regard because he's going to be doing this for a while. I'm not a doctor, but stage 4 cancer, you gotta kill it. You gotta beat it. You gotta have surgery to remove it. And he's doing it all so far.
And I can't imagine what he's going through right now, what his family's going through right now. But I tell you the one thing that's been up here for the entire time is his spirit, and I can't say that enough. I'm excited to go down there March 21st, down there right outside Kansas City. I'm excited to go there and see my man Bo and give him a big old hug and stuff, and things like that. But there's an amazing card too, by the way. Not only the amazing card, but you got the tournament too. So you got a lot going on. And for those out there that don't know, because I experienced that. I experienced good food. When I went, it was good food. There was that, Well, I didn't get a chance to go to Brian Corner's place. He still kind of ribs me now because I heard he can throw some food on the grill and get down, but I've never done that. But nonetheless, the food was great. I've been there. I think last time I went might have been 4 years ago now, 3-4 years ago. You
Yeah,
know?
you honestly, Jody, you probably came to the worst Fallen Heroes.
Oh,
I
really?
didn't. Oh yeah, I didn't like the venue. The turnout was smaller than I had expected. The talent was great. I mean, we had
Yeah.
Adam Warzinski there, we had Tim Talmadge, we had you, Ryan Clark, we had Don
Cody
Underwood,
Merritt was there.
Cody Merritt. Cody's our Kansas City mascot. He was just at my last event because
Yeah.
he he wanted to come out and help Bo like you do. And
Hmm.
I reached out to him and he's like, get me out there. Give me a place to stay and get me my plane ticket and I'll come pull whoever. And he pulled Wallace Dilly. And man, I don't think that man's pulled so much in his life. Him and Wallace pulled 7 matches that day. He he stayed with me while he was here. And I think he didn't realize what he was getting himself into, but I think he had a lot of fun while he's here. But Wallace got him a couple times throughout the day. I think Cody
Hmm.
ended up winning 5 out of the 7 matches or something like that. And he won the super match. Wallace surprised him won the match. I think it was 3-1 in the super match. And then
Yeah.
Wallace got him one time during the tournament, maybe. Might have been 6-1, but either way, that just shows you like Cody is a gamer willing to pull anybody, especially to help Bo, and shows you how strong Wallace is getting. So
Oh, so if you all want to see what Ryan and I are talking about, Nebraska. I don't know what the website is. It's on YouTube. The arm wrestling
Nebraska
guy
high
from the
risers.
High Risers. Yeah, go on there because that's where I saw that. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of going, okay. I'm thinking, I'm like, wow. And it didn't dawn on me to you. I'm like, man, they pull an awful lot. I'm like, well, how many
Yeah.
classes were there? Because it seemed like it was just them, and they had their own little tournament, and then there's everybody else. That's what it looked to
So
seem like, But
yeah,
no,
they
that was
pulled
awesome.
a super match, best of 5. They pulled the um, tournament, the heavyweights, they're super
Mhm.
heavyweights, and then I also have an overall class, which I'll go ahead and break this down for you because you'll be at the tournament. I'm doing the BMF series again this year, so we have instead of an overall, we have a BMF class. It's $20 to enter, seated by weight. It's essentially who's the baddest guy at this tournament. Anybody can enter it, and you essentially Cody Merritt's up here at the top at whatever he weighs. Down
Mhm.
here at the bottoms, Joe Skinny guy at 130 pounds. They all pull. Um, Most of the time, the heavyweight wins, like most overalls. But we've had Austin Tevis come out and win it. We've had Isaac Russell win it. I've gotten second and third place in that class a few times. It's always exciting and has matches you wouldn't expect each time. But Cody and Wallace hooked up in that mat class, and then they also hooked up in the super heavyweight class, and then they also had their super match. So they may have pulled 8 times that day. I don't remember.
It was a lie, but it was exciting though.
Oh yeah.
Um, so the BMF series now was last year the first time you did that?
So 2 years ago was the BMF series. This last
Okay,
year I did the Midwest Triple Crown where I
that's what it
had
was.
I'm running Kansas State, Nebraska State, and I did a Missouri State last year. Um,
Okay.
so I did whoever wins titles at their actually I just ended up doing placing at all 3 of those state tournaments, got a custom medal to recognize their Triple Crown accomplishment. And then
Oh,
the
nice.
instead of the BMF class, I did the Triple Crown class, um, where same concept. You get and the whole series for BMF and Triple Crown, you get points throughout for based on your placing and based on the BMF and Triple Crown class each time. So it's the series of events. This year, I have my event next week, which is just a one-off event. The only points that count are the BMF class, Fallen Heroes. Um, Nebraska State in June, Kansas State in September, MoKan State, which I'm not doing in Missouri State because Denise Waddles does that in St. Louis, and there's just too much confusion last year. So I'm doing a MoKan State, which is
Yeah.
Missouri and Kansas, right on the border here. Um, that's in November, and then BMF finals are in January next year. Um, so that entire series, you get points based on your attendance and how many classes you pull, or just one class because I have to make it one class for the super heavies to make it fair. But
Yeah.
the BMF class is worth double points, and it really does find out who the baddest dude is because the first year Austin Tevis won it, um, but in the process he tore his rotator cuff, so it tells you how hard you have to be. Um, I think he ended up giving one of the belts to Don Underwood. And then Wallace broke his wrist the first tournament of that series, so he missed a
Ooh.
couple tournaments. yeah, him and Devin Gagnon, another strong heavyweight here, were pulling at my first tournament, and Wallace felt something in his wrist, and it ended up being a fracture in his wrist, which is just crazy from
Ouch.
pulling in a deep hook.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's weird because normally, when you're like that, you kind of feel that, but if you're in the hook, it seems like, well,
Oh yeah, no, they were in deep like this, and I think Devin probably twisted his wrist so hard going in there deep that it cracked or something. I don't know. I may be misremembering, but it was something that kept Wallace out right-handed for a little
right.
bit. But either way, that just kind of shows you the parity here, because Wallace won last year riding left-handed, and I had big, beautiful 1990 WCW heavyweight championship belts, and they were pretty crazy. And this year, I haven't decided what the final award's going to be. I may be doing the BMF replica belts again because those are pretty awesome, or I may do a UFC championship belt, or I may do like a 90s WWF championship belt, WWE, something, just something exciting. Those championship belts, if you get them done right, from a reputable secondhand place that does those replica belts, they're
Yeah.
nice. This belt weighed like 10 pounds, and Wallace was blown away by it. I was like, I didn't go cheap on it. And then the BMF belt I got the year before, thick plates on it, and it just looks exactly like the belt that they give out in the WCW and the UFC. So kind of the whole idea is it's worth winning at the end of the
Right.
whole thing.
Now, are you morphing into the belts now? Because I know when I was out there, you know how certain tournaments have a signature award. Like we talked about Michigan State's and the Gorillas and stuff, and Winter Blast has the Dragons. And if you go to the Midwest, there were like swords, there were like hatchets and stuff like that. And are we getting away from that now? Because usually when you talk about that, everybody goes, "Oh, yeah, that's the you need to go to Kansas for that one," because you just kind of know based on what the award is, exactly what tournament that is. So are you kind of morphing away from that now or in doing belts, or how's that working?
So I have more weight classes now is the main thing. I used to only do 5. Now I do 8 right and left-handed. So I do 54, 65, 76, 87, 98, 220, 242, and then super heavies. So 16 axes times 3, which is 48 axes. They're not cheap, Jody. So, whenever I was doing 30, that was fine. But whenever you had 20 more on top of it, it just, I spent 10 to 15 grand on Fallen Heroes to start. If I added that extra cost, that would put me closer to 20 grand. So it just wasn't feasible. And one thing I love about how arm wrestling has changed is a lot of people have become more prideful in their awards, which has opened up some avenues. And you can get custom awards now that look nice.
There it is.
And I've been okay with nice. I spent a lot of time creating these medals, and let me see. There we go. So like these are the custom medals this year. They're 5 inches. They're cut out. They're nice, heavy, and I really modeled them after the X Games.
Yeah.
Because obviously X for Fallen Heroes 10, and I kind of decided, well, if I'm not going to give out the axes, I'm going to invest my money in super matches and give out quality awards and medals. And then the axes, I'm probably going to give out for the BMF class, get 2 big, nice, really big axes that not the year you came, I didn't give those out, but I've given them out in the past. I think Cody's won one. I mean, there was one year that I gave out giant axes for first place in every class. So, but the reason I'm not doing it now is tariffs and inflation have made those things just not feasible anymore.
Yes.
I would love to do that because, like you said, they're great, but I can't spend $20,000 on awards because I'm not in Michigan State. I can't guarantee I'm going to have 400 or 500 entries, and this is a charity event. If I was, I'm okay losing money on my other events, but I set the bare minimum for Fallen Heroes at a $5,000 donation, and most of the time that comes out of my own pocket.
So for anybody in the chat that's been to Fallen Heroes to have one of those axes or hatches, be very, very fortunate, because the way things are is it's just hard to you know, same with the tariff situation, that kind of stuff. And like Ryan said, you know, now that he has more classes, you know, that's more spending stuff. So, but before we go further, so let me know one more thing. So March 21st, and you said anybody can enter, and you put $20 in. And what do you call that again?
BMF class. So we have amateur, and we also have pro BMF classes. So the pro BMF class is obviously the pro. I have amateur and semi-pro classes. I have 5 semi-pro classes, 8 amateur classes. The amateur classes match the pro. Semi-pro, I take out a few of them just to make sure there's enough entries and people to justify the classes. So the amateur BMF classes are the same thing as the pro. It's just, you know, if you're an amateur, I don't want you to pull in the pro. And you're just seated by weight. You know, if we get 3 people, we get 3 people. If we get 20 people, we get 20 people. We sometimes we have 20-person classes for that BMF class, and it's pretty crazy. It's one of the, definitely the most, and it's ran like an overall. It's the BMF class for a reason. So I will call you up, and you don't get a break. Like if I call the heavyweights up and I need them to be at the table for the next match, they're going to the table for the next match, and I will yell at them. I will tell them, get at the table. There's no breaks here. So,
well, shouldn't it be by the table anyway, just to be ready?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, you know, people like to lollygag and, you know, try and give their arm a break. And like, no, if you're tired, you're tired. You're not the baddest right now, and you're gonna have to lose this match, and hopefully you can come around on the B side. So, it's entertaining in that regard too, because it really keeps everybody on their toes, because fatigue can change who wins that at any given time.
Oh yeah, I might have my old ass internet. You never know.
You should. It's fun. You're not coming out all this way just to not pull, are you?
No. Well, you know my theory. If I'm going to be flying elsewhere, I'm gonna do all I can. I might, you know, go home with one arm, but still, I'm gonna come on. I'm all the way out there, so I'm excited because obviously I've been matched with Easton McCormick, and I've been hearing tons of things from everybody. You know, texting me, calling me, whatever, emailing me, dude, man, don't take him lightly. And I gotta make this point very super clear since you're on here and everybody watching and stuff. So the thing is that Easton and I, we're not pulling for a rank or anything. There's no rank on the line. You know, his more important match is next month on Valentine's Day against Chuck Young. But him and I, you know, and we talked about it and stuff. And it's more of just hey, we're going to have this match. We're going to have fun with it. It's to help out, you know, Bo and everything, and to help you out. So everybody needs to just relax for a second. But I thought I'd make it fun. So first order of business, I said, hey, since we're just going to have fun with this thing, how about we make it, you know, Chocolate Thunder rules? And everybody's like going, dude, what are you doing? What does that mean? I said, okay, hear me out. So this is something I thought of. And so for the first time, I'm going to go ahead and implement that. So what that is that we flip a coin. Everything's a coin flip, right? So it eliminates the, you know, Ryan, when you pull and you end up slipping, and sometimes you get that little twang that goes all the way down to the L. You know how that feels, right?
Oh, yeah.
So to eliminate that, Easton and I agreed, what we'll do, we'll flip a coin. If it lands on heads, then we start in a power hook. You know, when it says go, we just go at it. You know, best man winning the hook. If it lands tails, then we go right to the strap. Yeah. So that way it kind of eliminates, you know, I guess another reason why I want to do that, it eliminates all the setting up, all of that stuff, and then, okay, finally ready to go. And when you slip anyway, it's like, you know, how much time did we just burn? Flip a coin, bam, tails, right to the strap. Let's go. You know,
yeah, save me time. I'm all about that.
Yeah, so it's, I think, you know, I'm not trying to, like, you know, reinvent the wheel, but I'm just thinking, you know what, just flip a coin. That's even quicker than all the setting up stuff just to see another strap anyway. So that, you know, you're either going to be in the strap or you're going to be in the power hook based on what the coin flip is. Now, speaking of coins, and you know how some of the elites got like the hammer, the legacy hammer, that kind of stuff. And so I thought, a friend of mine, I had one from down in Washington State. It's I'm going to challenge coin, right? So here's what it looks like right here. If I can see that right there. Yeah. So it's a challenge coin, right? Established in 2025. On the flip side, it has the two arms, you know, locked together, that kind of thing, right? So what that is, so what this is, I'm challenging Easton. Cool, let's do this. He beats me in our super match. then now he's in possession of this coin, and now he has to find somebody to challenge and just keep the whole thing running. And I know that, a lot of us are not going to be on that elite level. I get that. So I figured, let's have fun with it. Let's just go ahead and say, hey, man, here's a legacy coin. If you beat me, it's on you, my friend. Thanks a lot. When you challenge somebody and you win, all I ask is you tag 2 people, myself and then Kelly, who makes these up in Idaho. You tag her into it, because now we're going to get this thing, rolling. I think it'd be kind of cool. I'm going to go ahead and buy a few more from her and just kind of implement that. Just kind of make it fun. Why not? So
just Jody.
Yes.
I just had a scheduled post go out. I just got a notification over here on my other tab. We had to have a replacement for Daniel Worley. He has a work obligation for his matches that he was going to pull up here. He has a couple of commitments each year for expos that he has to go to for. I'm not entirely sure what he does, but he has to be at an expo that weekend, unfortunately. So that's the second guy from Florida that got scared of Drew Bishop.
Because didn't he replace Craig Sublair?
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. I know Florida guys are prideful. I know you're not really scared, but
Brad Grundy's still coming, right?
No, he couldn't make it either. I wish he was. You said Craig, right?
Brad Grundy's still. He's pulling Wallace, isn't he?
Yeah. So
he's from Florida, so he'll still be there.
Yeah, so I think they're just afraid of the cold because it's not quite done with winter yet. So I went up north and got a guy from Wisconsin named Steve Martinez Delicatera, I believe. And it's the longest last name you'll ever see, but he recently beat Brent Rocker's left-handed up in Chicago. Ooh. And yeah, in a super match, not just like a one-off tournament match or anything. He beat him in a best-of-5 super match. And last year he came down, he pulled Easton left-handed and beat Easton pretty handedly. So he's pulling a guy from Kansas City named Chris Mace, who we originally had set up with Daniel. And he's ranked number 1 in Missouri because he just beat Russ Schrader at the last tournament I had.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's saying a lot.
Yeah, and he's one of Bo's guys. Bo asked for Chris to be on the card to represent his team. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Your tournament or not your tournament, it's a tournament for you. Let's have Chris come out there. He's super strong. I mean, you don't beat Russ Schrader without being strong. And then Brian is a guy that I offered up to Daniel originally. I just don't think Daniel knew who he was. And I honestly think he may be a tougher matchup for the way that Chris pulls, because he, from what I've seen, Daniel's power top roller, where Chris is flop wrist, inside power, anything you want to do. I believe he beat Brent Rockers with his wrist backwards. That kind of tells you how much power he has. So,
ooh, okay.
And that's the same thing that Chris Mace does. He's just a power that he can pull with his wrist backwards if he needs to. And beating Russ Schrader's nothing to Russ, so super strong guy. And then right-handed, he's going to take on Steven. And the first thing Drew said is, he's like, I might be more scared of Brian than I am of Daniel. So it'd be interesting. If you don't know who Steven is from Wisconsin, you should, because I think if he got out there more often, he could be a top 15, top 20 guy easily, if not top 10 or above.
Couple things. One, you're gonna have to update the flyer one more time, because I'm gonna start pushing more of it out. But now it's like, okay, I can't push that one because Craig's out of it. Now I can't put the one with Daniel because he's out of it now. So now we gotta update the flyers and stuff, and then I can go ahead or the posters, I should say.
Well, check your Facebook notification, because I tagged you in that post. It just posted, so you're good.
Oh, okay, cool. And second, I wonder if they're going to be in Illinois tomorrow, because tomorrow's Illinois States.
Yeah, so Pat Bear and Bill Onfrey put that on. Yeah. And whenever I took over this tournament I'm running next week, it was originally scheduled to be going on this weekend. And whenever I took it over, I was like, I can't do that to Pat and Bill. So I moved it, and Pat's actually coming to ref at Fallen Heroes, so that'll be good to have a master ref there.
Yeah.
And I know that Wallace was planning on being there, but we're about to get a major snowstorm across all of the Midwest, so I really hope that doesn't mess with their attendance.
Right. It's rough this time of year, especially in that area because you just don't know. Because one weekend you're fine, and then the next weekend you get dumped on. It's kind of like it just you're not quite, you don't really quite know what's going on. So it can be stressful. It can't, you sit there and you just cross your fingers and either one say, okay, if you guys are going to make it out there, please get there safe. And two, if you think, if you're having second thoughts, then don't come. I mean, I'd rather have somebody not come, be mad, but not come and be safe than trying to say, oh, I'm gonna go for it anyway, and then something catastrophic happens. So it's rough this time of year.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it's rock in a hard place because this is Pat and Bill's big tournament. It's the Illinois State Championship.
Yeah.
But whenever I reached out to Pat whenever I first took this over, I was like, hey, I got to keep it around the same time, but I'm moving back a week to avoid you guys. And whenever I talked to Wallace, I was like, go to Illinois State if you want more of a challenge, and they pay out money up there. I'm paying out money for mine, but I think because they have more entries, they pay out money based on how many entries. And I was like, go to Illinois State if you can make it. And I pushed a lot of the guys that I talked to that aren't amateur and wanted more of a challenge. I was like, go over there. So I'm sure some of those Nebraska high riser guys will be going over there with Wallace, and hopefully they do well. If they, like I said, I haven't talked to any of them, so they may have decided to stay home, but or maybe they left this afternoon to avoid the weather and get there beforehand. I just don't know, because it's like you could get 18 inches of snow or you could get 3 inches of snow. It's a band of unpredictable snow right now, it looks like.
It's a straight up crapshoot. I tell you what, because I'm like here. It's probably nothing. We got 25 degrees. It snowed earlier today, and now it's just the wind's kind of blowing, and it feels colder than what it is. But still, it's just like I live around mountains, so we're gonna get tons full and that kind of stuff. So, but still, it's just like everybody needs to be careful. But nonetheless, once again, the Midwest, right? If we're talking Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois, Detroit area, you got that talent over there. Rockers is there, Pablo's there. I know buddy of mine, Jay Khan's going to be there. I think Rush Trader is supposed to be there and stuff. And all kind of good. I mean, my buddy Tim Tomatch is going there. So there's that. Then you got the tournaments here in the Plains, Nebraska and Kansas and Missouri. And when I went there last, Ryan, I didn't realize this till I got there. I didn't realize how different, like Kansas City, Kansas is, and Kansas City, Missouri. Like they are different, like so different. I'm like going, and one would think, and I was talking to my wife about it all, and she was like, "Well, how was Kansas City?" I'm like, "Well, babe, there's two different Kansas Cities, but they are nothing alike. Like they are nothing alike." So
no, the city side of Kansas City is on the Missouri side. The Kansas side is more, just kind of what you'd expect in Kansas. Most there are a lot of companies and stuff over on the Kansas side, so there are nice areas, but the city and the downtown, what you think of whenever you think of Kansas City, is on the Missouri side. And they are very different. Yes.
And then my partner in crime, my co-host Nathan Williams, is from Kansas City, Missouri, and I was asking him. I said, "What's this about the? I know this is kind of off topic." I said, "What is this about the Chiefs possibly moving to Kansas City, Kansas? What is all that?"
It's ridiculous, Jody. That's what it is.
Like, are they for real? Like, seriously?
Yeah.
Are they considering that?
Well, I mean, let me tell you, if Facebook offered you $2.8 million to do your show over there, but YouTube had a bunch of bureaucracy and they maybe would offer you $1 million, which one would you take? The guaranteed 2.8, I'd imagine. That's what the Chiefs did, because they offered them $2.8 billion in what they call star bonds, which are bonds that are based off the sales revenue in the counties surrounding where the stadium's going to go. And there's no votes needed. There's nothing. It's just they create these star bonds, and all the sales tax revenue goes directly towards paying those off. And Missouri was like, "Oh, we'll let you renovate the stadium you're in now, and we'll give you $800 million." And smartly, Kansas was like, "Oh, we'll give you $2.8 billion." So they're going over there.
That's crazy. it's just weird
Maybe it's
because
1.8 billion. It's a lot of money either way.
that fan base is like just crazy, and then to think they're relocating, it's like, I mean, it'll still be, I would imagine, still be Kansas City, right? Since they're going to Kansas, it's just
Yeah, so we have a NASCAR racetrack out there and like a big area called the Legends, and it's going to go in that area, and that's still Kansas City, Missouri, but it's about
mm,
30 minutes away from where they're at now on the Kansas side. So it'll be a nice area, and they'll build it up. That's the plan, is to kind of where the Cowboys are at and that area around there. That's what they want to build out there for the Chiefs. So
got
it'll
it.
be awesome. It's just, I live on the Missouri side, so I'm kind of mad about it, but it is what it is. They're still going to be in Kansas City. It's just Kansas City, Kansas.
Now the Royals staying put.
That's still up in the air too. They want a
Real?
downtown stadium. Oh yeah, they might go to Kansas. Kansas is making a strong push for them too. So
Y'all gonna be like Oakland, just lose all your teams,
I'm gonna be real mad. Let me tell you.
dude. Because I
But
mean, Oakland just lost everyone.
yeah, but they
Raiders
lost them to other cities. They're still gonna be in Kansas City. It's just they're gonna be not on the Missouri side. They'll be on the Kansas side, which
just
is
cross the bridge.
yeah, it's not great, but it could be worse because they could be the Las Vegas Royals and the Las Vegas Chiefs, like Oakland had happened to them.
Oh, that'd have been terrible.
Yeah,
Maybe it's because there's too much history. There's too much, the fan base, and all of a sudden it's kind of like, really, you guys just got, you're building dynasty and stuff, and all of a sudden now it's like, yeah, we want that. Hey, we're going to offer you this much money. So it's like, okay, I get it, but. And I guess all that money that with the star thing you're talking about is going to help build fund the stadium, right?
yeah. So essentially the state of Kansas guarantees that money, and then they pay off the loan that they take out to do it with those star bonds. So I don't know. I mean, they could theoretically default on that loan, and I don't know what happens then. So
Ooh, yeah, I don't want to think, because then there'd be a lot of question marks. You don't want to start wasting money, so.
either way, this is arm wrestling. Let's talk about these super matches.
Yes, let's do that. I just had to throw that out there. So
no, I can get riled up and talk about it all you want, because it makes me mad. But let's get back
all right,
on track before I get upset.
we don't want to raise your blood pressure. So
So I got the list in front of me. You want me to just start going down and we can talk about the matches?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that.
Okay. So I got them sorted out by left and right on this post that I just made, and there's 10 matches currently.
Okay.
And let me preface this first by, I will be streaming this on the Kansas City Arm Wrestling YouTube page free. I just got streaming equipment. If you notice how my camera is really nice right now, I'm using one of the cameras that I bought for streaming to test it out. And we're going to be streaming it live on the Kansas City Arm Wrestling page free. I think I could make a pay-per-view card out of this, but I'm not a pay-per-view card guy. I think this should be a free product. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link to Bo's GoFundMe on there and say, if you want to throw any money at this pay-per-view, don't throw it at the pay-per-view, throw it at this GoFundMe to help Bo. So
now, is this on YouTube or Facebook?
It'll be on YouTube.
And subscribe. Bam, there it is.
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
And so the first match is a guy named Jimmy Weiss versus Tim Lewis. I'm sure everybody that's in arm wrestling knows who Tim Lewis is, because he's probably pulling a super match right now. And Jimmy is a new up-and-comer from Nebraska. He just got 5th at the World Series of Arm Wrestling in San Diego, which I know you're not a fan of, but you know how hard that tournament is. So getting 5th place there is tough. So Jimmy's kind of up-and-coming. He wanted a match. Tim reached out, and I reached out to Jimmy, told him the conditions of the match, and we worked it out. And I'm glad, because Tim's going to stay up there he's actually going to stay with Easton and his dad up in Omaha, and then drive down to the event, kind of save himself some money that way. And works out for me, because I love having Tim around.
Right.
And, it's a little bit further he has to fly in rather than drive like he does most places. So it made sense. And I think that'll be a good match. See where Jimmy is, and let Tim continue his role as that gatekeeper to notoriety, I guess.
I mean, I want to say I had a show last week, and I want to say Lucky corrected me, and I said that guy should be called the Road Warrior, and I think he is. And I think she's the one that said, yeah, that is his nickname, because the thing is, though, is that like you said, he's probably pulling somebody right now. He'll probably pull
Yeah.
somebody at 3 in the morning. I mean, because that guy's gone everywhere
Oh
and
yeah.
competed, and he's gone to IFA Worlds and stuff. And yeah, and I guess you could say, and I don't know why people use the word gatekeeper as a bad thing. I'm not
Oh,
sure
it's not.
why.
I think I'm a gatekeeper at my point in my arm wrestling career right now. Like, if you want to be a good arm wrestler, there are just guys that you have to beat. And whenever a guy beats me, I'm just like, all right, he's ready for the next step. So I'm sure Tim, you gotta be realistic in this sport. If you're not willing to change your training habits, i.e., do steroids and do other things, and you kind of got to settle. Or if you're already doing steroids and you're just kind of at a level, this is a professional sport. Not everybody gets out of the minor leagues. So if you're a gatekeeper, doesn't mean you can't go and beat a lot. Tim's the perfect example. He goes out and beats 90% of the people he pulls, it seems like. So,
Yes.
and he's not challenging people most of the time. He is getting challenged. He's not just
Yeah.
saying, I want to pull this guy. People are going to him and saying, I want to pull you. And he just always shows up and does his business. It's crazy.
Well, I think there's something to be said about, like you said, challenging yourself. And, like I said, if the gatekeeper, is that a bad thing? You want to know where you stand. Am I ready for the next level? Well, maybe Tim Lewis will let you know.
Oh yeah.
You can lose 3-1 to Tim and be like,
Well,
yeah, he's ready, that kind of thing. But still, it's just like,
and Tim is a gatekeeper to like the next level of arm wrestlers. Like Tim to me is a mid to high level pro. He's not going to go out there and be number one in the country at this point. But if you can beat Tim, you're ready to start being a ranked person or pulling ranked opponents and things like that. That's all I'm saying, because it's like he can beat 90% of the pullers out there, probably, maybe more than that. But
right.
those 10% that can beat him are the ones that deserve to take that next step. And that's all I mean by gatekeeper is you need guys like Tim. You need guys like me who are good to beat everybody. And if you can't beat me or Tim or some of those other guys out there that are kind of not pushing the cusp of top 10, top 20, but they can beat most everybody else that's not at that level, that's how you know where you're at. And if those guys weren't out there, then everybody would just have to guess and just talk trash on Facebook arbitrarily.
Oh, don't even get me started. We got too many of those as it is. It's like going,
Oh yeah.
in one match doesn't make anybody a Hall of Famer, but it's whatever. That's a different story for a different day. What else we got?
Next one is a little match: Easton McCormick versus Jody Williams. We already covered that one. So if you got anything else to say or any trash to talk,
No, you know what? I
I'll
don't.
tell you. I'll tell you. It sounds like you haven't heard this. You better be ready. He's a strong kid.
I've heard that it forward and backwards and side to side. So, and the thing is, though, is that somebody asked me, I can't remember who it was, and they were like, "Dude, what are you thinking? Going after him?" I was like, "Hold the phone, hold the phone." Now, I thought about this long and hard. Easton is not going to be easy whatsoever. In fact, and I'll say it with my chest, the way he's going, some way, somehow, him and Auden Laird are going to meet up on the table. That's how I feel. That's how good I think Easton is. In fact, if you're going to beat Easton, you better beat him now, because once he puts everything together, that dude's going to be hard. I mean, very hard to beat. Now, can I beat him? I think I have something for him. Whether is that going to work? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But
That's the thing. People are so scared of losing. It's like they look at arm wrestling like it's a MMA fight where you can go in there and just die or something. It's like, no. I train hard. I have confidence in my ability to arm wrestle. If I lose, I lose. It doesn't change whether I can beat this guy. It's the only
right.
thing that's different is I now know I can't beat him rather than I can assume that I can't beat him. It's like people are scared to find out if they can actually do something in this sport. They won't show up to tournaments. They won't take matches. It's the most frustrating thing I've ever seen is people want to sit at home and do their pronation workouts and think I can beat everybody and never actually go out and prove it.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up, because here's the deal. Because this sport's a one-on-one sport, and it seems like everybody has social media. You have one, I have one, this Diet Sunkiss has one. Everyone has a show now or social media of some sort. So I think when they pump themselves up, and then all of a sudden, things don't go their way, they take a loss. Some of them, not all, but some kind of go into hiding because it's like going, look, it's a one-on-one sport. So guess what? You look at it like I got a 50-50 shot of beating Easton. I'm either going to win or I'm going to lose. That's how it goes. That's how it's going to go. But I'm at an age now, because I'll be 50 next month. I'm at an age now where I don't put too much stress on that, because if I don't win, kids still love me. Wife didn't leave me. I still got the house. Like there was more things that, there's a lot more important things to worry about than losing the arm wrestling match. Now, if I happen to win, that'd be cool. Hell, if I get one pin, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But I know
that's the way I think people need to look at it, because people look at me like I'm crazy because I'll enter every class at a tournament. I'm like, I'll get up there and I will make whoever the heavyweights are load up like they're pulling John Brzezinski because they don't want to lose to me. And I'll get up there and beat some people in the 242 class, win the 198 class, and pull the 187 class on top of it. And it's like, if I lose matches along the way, who cares? I train too hard for this not to enjoy a tournament. Like, people are so scared of losing for some reason.
Because think about it. I'm going to go in the KC, Eastern McCormick. Cool. Open tournament, left hand. Cool. Masters tournament. Cool. And have fun. All on one arm. Be walking
BMF
like
class.
This. In the BMF class. So there you go right there. So I'm going to get all I can handle because, again, it's not every day you go to Kansas City or anywhere else. For me, I only live in this state called Oregon over here in the Pacific Northwest. And, let's be real. We don't have the state championship, by the way. Just thought I'd throw that out there. So, yeah, when I have opportunity to go there, I know this is not like
You want one, Jody? I just talked to somebody about doing South Dakota state champion a couple weeks ago. So if you want to talk to me about running an Oregon state championship, let's add it to my plate. I got too much on it already.
So I'm just excited to go there. So when I travel, I'm going all out. And if I go 2-0 in every damn match, I don't think that'll happen. But if I do go 2-0 every event, you know what? It's all about having fun, get some experience, getting some data, because I got to turn right around and get ready for IFA Nationals in Ohio. So the following month. So
I'll be there too. I'll see you there.
There you go. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Easton and all that kind of stuff. But I do think at some point him and Auden Laird are going to meet on the table, and I can't wait for that. So
he's going to smash Auden.
There we go. Next, what else we got?
All right, so let's start blasting through these.
Okay.
Zach Hayden versus Ethan Mercer. Ethan Mercer, if you don't know who he is, pay attention to him. He's gonna be top 5, and Zach Hayden just pulled Artem back in July and lost 2-3, but he smoked him the first couple matches, and then Artem found a lane that slowed him down and tired him out, and he couldn't recover and lost the next 3. But Zach is a powerhouse puller, and Ethan, he's probably 6'2", broad shoulder but skinny looking guy. Looks like Kurt Cobain, and
nice.
Yeah, and he will come up to the table and just smoke people. He just beat Cole Casper in a super match at my last event pretty handedly. Which, if you know Cole Casper, oh yeah, Cole Casper gave. Who was it? Left-handed. He gave Coach Ray all he wanted at that East vs. West in Colorado, I think it was. And that tells you how strong Ethan is, how strong Cole is. So it's crazy. And then the next match is Cole Casper versus Lane Perry. Lane is, I think, maybe the number 1 176 puller out of Illinois, and Cole is the number 1 left-handed puller out of 176 out of Wisconsin. Cole is, ranked in the top 10 at 190. Yeah, but he wants to move back down to 176. So I think Lane is ranked in the top 18 or so at left-handed. So they're pulling for a rank essentially. I reached out to him and asked him if he wanted to be involved. So that'll be a great match. Just 2 lightweight pullers that are have ranking on the line. Steven Martinez Delicatera and Chris Mace. We've already talked about that. Next one, Stephen Logsdon making his return to being competitive again. He's been showing up to my events, helping ref, just kind of pulling without really training too hard. But he started coming out to practice every week again. He's just feeling like a rock, and he's pulling Ethan Mercer. And Ethan's right hand, he beat Cole just as easily right-handed as he did left-handed. So he thinks his right hand might be stronger than his left. Oh, Ethan beat so Stephen Logsdon beat who's the Canadian guy about 198? I can't think of his name right now. Travels everywhere.
John Therian?
Yeah, John Therian. Stephen beat him right and left-handed at the Monster Factory, and Ethan.
Oh yeah, I was there for that one.
Yeah. So just in case people have forgotten who Stephen Logsdon is, he beat John pretty easily both hands. I don't think John won a match, and if he did, it was 1 or 2 out of the whole thing. And then Ethan Mercer did the same thing. He beat John Therian on a last-minute switch to be the super match puller, and then he turned around in the tournament and beat Artem. So,
oh wow,
yeah, Ethan, you'll have to pay attention to him while you're here, because again, these are guys that I try to give platforms to guys that are up and coming who deserve it, and these are all guys that do. So pay attention to Ethan, but I think Steven's coming in to prove a point that Ethan's not going to be the top dog. Steven's still here.
You got to go through me.
Yeah, and that's his whole plan. So Drew Bishop versus Steven Martinez de la Catera. Drew is ranked top 20 at 242 right now, even though he's a 220 puller. Steven, I think, could be right there too, right-handed. So that'll be a great match. Just 2 power pullers. Drew looks like a bodybuilder. Steven looks like, same thing, just 2 balls of muscle, about 6 foot tall. So actually, I think Steven might be a little bit smaller than that, or shorter than that even. So then I have Eli Brohard versus Zach Hayden. Eli, IFA world champion. Zach beat him last time they pulled. I asked Eli if he wanted a rematch. He said, yes, I'll be there. Wanted to come down and support Bo because he pulled Bo at the last Fallen Heroes. So, and Bo beat Eli. Shows you how strong Bo is once again. If he wasn't dealing with his damn cancer, he'd be one of the top dogs right now. Then I have Easton McCormick versus Troy Brown. Troy won the Super 64. Easton won the right-handed. Easton just beat Cody Merritt. So tells you how strong Easton is. And Troy Brown won the Super 64, and I think he's ranked, in the top 15 right-handed at 242. So Easton won the 242 ranking match. Works in your favor because now he's not going to balloon up to 260 for Fallen Heroes. He's going to have to cut down to 242. So next, we have 2 more matches. Artem Taranenko versus Isaac Russell. Isaac's a guy from Nebraska. Everybody knows who Artem is, so I don't need to give him too much. He's strong. I don't need to say much more than that. Isaac been beating Stephen Logsdon right-handed. I got a win on him at the last tournament because he was exhausted. It was in the BMF class, so I flash pinned him whenever he had nothing left. But he has been going through. Oh man, he just had a good win in a super match. I just can't remember who it is, but I think he's probably a top 15 guy. So him and Artem are pulling for rank. And he's putting up some money to get Artem here, and I'm putting up some money too to get Artem here because Artem's worth it for the promotion aspect of it because he gets attention. So
that is true.
Yeah. So a little peek behind the curtain for everybody for the thought process behind getting some people on cards. Wallace Dilly versus Brad Grundy is the main event right now. And if you don't know Wallace yet, you need to pay closer attention because he is coming for the top of the heavyweights fast. He just pulled Corey West at the Monster Factory tournament. Didn't go his way. He beat him before at the World Series of Arm Wrestling Finals. Sorry, Greg, maybe I shouldn't have said that, but there's a lot more that goes into that match, but let's just say Wallace got the win there. Corey turned around, got the win at that one, but Wallace is coming up, making guys like Corey think twice whenever he comes to the table, which is saying something.
I'm waiting to see if he gets another crack at EBW. Wallace?
Yeah. I think pulling a guy like Cody the way he did, considering how close Cody is with the people who own East vs. West.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so whenever Robert one of his old training partners has 8 matches with a guy in a day, and each one of them was a battle. Probably a good way to get some attention. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think Robert sets all the matches, but he owns the thing. So um, I'm hoping he does. But Brad Grundy is currently ranked above Wallace. So Wallace had mentioned Brad. So I asked Wallace if he could reach out and see if Brad's interested. Brad seems like he's a gamer. He was just like,
Mhm.
yeah, let's do it. So I'm excited. I've never actually met Brad, but um, he seems like a cool, laid back guy as far as talented as he is. You get some
Yes,
arrogance in this sport sometimes, and he doesn't seem like he has an arrogant bone in his body from everything I've seen that he put out there. So I'm excited to meet him because it's one
he's
thing I
got
like
wins
to
on
meet.
that mask.
Yeah, I mean that's the
So
thing. Like I think some people probably look at that match and think that it's a mismatch, and I'm like, no, that is not. So Brad has a way of pulling that I think can put Wallace in danger, and Brad is every bit as strong as any super heavyweight out there almost.
it's one of those what we call it. It's one of those styles make matches kind of scenarios because you think Wallace, you think power, you think Brad, you think he has a power and he has technique. So what do you call that? I mean, he's savvy on the table, smart. So I don't think Brad's going to outpower him, but I think he's going to make Wallace think that okay, I better come with something else than what I got. Like I've always said, super matches, and you're a baseball guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I might have told you this before, but I look at super, and this may or may not make sense. So bear with me, and everybody in the chat, bear with me. I think of super matches as baseball pitchers, right? Now you got your fastball, right? That's your ace. Cool. If I throw my fastball and the batter swings it, takes it out of the park, I better have a curveball. I better have a breaking ball, slider, knuckleball, anything. I better have more tools in the shed than my ace when it comes to a super match. Because if I throw out my number one move or whatever and they shut that down, I better have something else or else I'm dead in the water. And that's how I kind of look at super matches. You got to come with more than just that, And I'm not saying Wallace only has that. I'm just saying that because Brad of his style, he's going to throw more at you. So
No,
are you
and,
going to be
and
able to?
Wallace is inexperienced compared to his strength level. He has the strength of a lot of guys that have been doing this for over a decade, and he's only been doing it for 2 or 3 years at this point. So
Right.
he got started late in life, but he's making strides that are just outrageous. And he it's a twofold thing. It's like I can't bend my arm anymore past here. Well,
Ooh.
Wallace's arm's fresh. So
Yeah.
he's as strong as he is. Sometimes the length of time you arm wrestle leads to additional strength and experience. Well, he has the strength, he doesn't have the experience, but he is so strong and so fresh without those injuries that a lot of pullers have after 10 plus years of pulling that I think the experience is going to come, and he has a lot less wear and tear going into it.
Has he pulled Wayne Withers? I'm just curious.
I think they've tried to set it up a few times, and for one reason or another, that match has fallen through a couple of times. So they
Okay.
haven't pulled yet. I don't think. I don't think. Don't quote me on that, but I know that they've tried to set it up a couple times.
Because there's some guys I would love to see, Wallace pull. But like I said, I mean, I'm sure that guy's schedule is getting full and fuller by the week. But I would love to see him against Chance Shaw. I'd love to see him against, like I said, Wayne Withers or somebody like that. Maybe even Marcio. This guy, I want to, maybe even Derek Smith. I don't know. But Robbie Burnett in Texas.
I want to see Tom. I want to see Tom Nelson pull him now. Tom was saying something about $5,000, and I ran that by Wallace, and Wallace was like, "I'll do it." I was like, "All right, I need to get a hold of Tom and see if he'd come out." I think Nebraska State's my next event in June. And I was going to reach out to him and be like, Wallace Dilly, you want to pull someone for rank? He's ranked pretty high right now, and he's willing to pull for maybe he said 1,000, but money. And
I'll hit him up after the show and be like, "Hey man, you still want to do that? Because when is Nebraska? You said in June?
yeah, let me see here. I think
Because I know he has a birthday in June. So
happy birthday.
yeah,
Sorry, I'm pulling up my Facebook events because I don't have them in front of me. June 13th,
ooh, because his
Omaha,
birthday.
Nebraska. Actually, Lincoln, Nebraska.
I think his birthday is June 16th, if I'm not mistaken. But nonetheless, I'll reach out to him and go, bro, you still want that match or what? Because we talked about it, and you said he said he's down for it.
Wallace, yeah, I mean, I would have to check in with him again to double check,
Right.
but I ran it by him. I was like, hey, you see what? Because this was around the time whenever he beat Derek, and there was some Facebook drama or something with rankings, and he was saying he wants anybody
Oh, I remember
who's
that.
ranked because he wants to be ranked nationally again, which Tom out of anybody's earned it. He's beaten, John Brzezinski, he's beaten Ron Bath, Travis,
Yeah,
so
he's been
yeah,
Tim
and he
Bradford,
just beat.
Mark. He's done it, and now real good friend of mine. I admire the guy, and he took time off. He had some stuff going on and stuff, and he would want to take time off, focus on family stuff, focus on raising his daughters, and now he's like saying, you know what? Everybody's on notice now. My girls are raised. Everybody's on notice. So, with that being said, motherfuckers might be in trouble, but and the thing is though, when all that stuff, all those distractions were behind in the rearview mirror, and Tom starts training, I'm telling you, it's a different version. So, when the rematch of the King of California happened and Tom beat him, it was like, wow, here we go. Here
Oh
we
yeah,
go.
I
So,
wasn't shocked. I mean, I've been watching Tom Pool since I started back in ROTN in 2009. He was there, and I'll hear stories about Tom being Tom and just the crazy stuff he would do, and then to see him pop up here and there and just come in and beat somebody that's a ranked person and just kind of go off and not pull for a while. I'm just like, it's just crazy that he can come in, do that, and then just kind of go off and ride dirt bikes on a sand mountain out there in California until he's ready to arm wrestle again.
I miss those ROTN days. I mean, that was Gary Roberts, Don Fritchie. I got together, and every year in Kansas City, they get together for that Rule of the Nation. I'm telling you, those are some good stuff. If you want to talk about who's who, guys in the chat, guys and girls, go to ArmTV, Gary Roberts, and then just type in ROTN, and there are clips over there where it's like, wow, man, the after pull was just like amazing because the array of talent there, and everybody was younger then, the younger Brazink, Travis, all that kind of stuff. The array of talent there was just phenomenal. It was like, are you serious? Like everybody was in one area at one time, period. That's how good it was.
Oh yeah, and you'll never get that again. Like you got to think the biggest money events right now, are here and there, maybe less than $10,000, and you have what Greg Sharp's doing, where he's giving out, $100,000, and even that doesn't attract all the big names. It's just arm wrestlers are spoiled. They used to give out $20,000. Gary and Don. Don would
Mhm.
show me because he showed me the first time I was 18 years old. And he opened his safe out at arm wrestling practice. He's like, "You want to see $20,000?" I was like, "Yeah." And I was thinking it was going to be a stack this big of hundreds, and it was like that big. I was like, "That's $20,000." He's like, "Yeah, that's not very big, is it?" I was like, "No." And then the next week we have the tournament. John Brzezink's there. Uh, some guy from Russia I've never heard of, Alan Fisher, Cobra Rhodes, Tom Nelson. You get
Everybody.
everybody, every big name back in 2008 and 2009 were at this tournament for $20,000. Paid $1,000 to first place. It was crazy. And now you give out $1,000 to first place, you'll be lucky to get the local guys to show up.
I think with this, I know Greg Sharp's trying to do something like that in a sense, and I think it's just the sports changed.
Oh yeah.
A lot of it's all about super matches, which there's nothing wrong with that, but you know, it's changed so much where because I think, and this is my opinion, I'm not saying I'm right. There's so many options now where there weren't that many options then. So when you have the EVW, you have the MAC up in Canada, you got WSA, you still got the tournaments that everybody puts on. It seems like the tournaments might have multiplied by 4 or 5 after the pandemic. It seems like it's just getting people to go, and I got to focus on this tournament. I mean, hell, you and I had talked, and the month of March is just saturated. I mean, think about it. Let's just talk about the month of March right now. The first weekend, you got the Arnold, right? We all know that's always the first weekend in March. That same day is the North America Championships in Ottawa, Canada. That's 2 events. The following weekend, there's a third event, will be the North America in Las Vegas. You know, then you got the sit down nationals that went from April to March this year. Okay, then you have your event. All right, that's the fifth one. You got Winter Blast the weekend after yours. There's 6 tournaments right there. So when you think of it, you didn't have those kind of problems back in the day when, oh, when's ROTN? I'm gonna make it. There's so many events out there now. You kind of go, which one? And and I've even gotten in a situation where, like, damn, I don't know where to go. That kind of thing, because you want to say yes, but only one can say, I'm going to do this. So it's just it's rough. It's rough.
Yeah, and it's frustrating as a promoter because it's a lot of fly by night promoters a lot of times putting on one-off events, thinking that they can come in and make money or put on. I hope it's not always make money. I think it's just, I can put on a good show and this is easy to do type thing.
Right.
And, they do it and they're like, oh, this wasn't easy or profitable. So
hell, my wife and I, we do one tournament a year. It's a foundation tournament. And I know just for the one tournament a year, it's like, man, it's in June. So I'm already starting to stress out, because I'm like, all right, I always start stressing out the first of the year because I got X amount of months to start getting stuff laid out. Because you got to make sure, are we all good with the venue? Cool. You got to make sure, you talk to the sponsors. You got to make sure you get the medals all lined up and everything like that, the plaques and, the fundraisers. You got to make sure all the donations. You got to make sure a lot of stuff is, out there and stuff. So me just doing one stresses me out. So I can only imagine what you go through, because throughout the year, you got your Triple Crown, your BMFs, you got all that kind of stuff going too. So I can only imagine what you go through. And the one thing you cannot control is the amount of entries that do come. So
yeah, no, and that's the nature of it, and that's why I think people need to understand that it's an investment that you're not guaranteed to get back whenever you do these things. And I buy all my stuff at the beginning of the year, so I'll spend thousands and thousands of dollars on medals and other stuff and make sure I have them. So like today, I was designing another medal for an event that I added in May and working with my medal people to get that started. I was like, here's another however many dollars to go towards the pot of what I have for next year. And it's like, well, I kind of run it through. I'm like, all right, I need this many entries to break even on medals. I need this many entries to pay refs. I need this many entries to cover the cost of shirts. I need this many entries to cover miscellaneous costs. People forget, like, tables don't materialize out of thin air. The chalk and straps, and you got to buy replacement wing nuts, and you got to go out and buy software for your computer to run Corey's bracket system. You got to buy streaming equipment is a new one that I just added in this year. It's like, all right. Whoa. It's like I spent $500 on cameras and cords for streaming, and it's probably still going to be mediocre. But I'm like, I don't want to rely on other people because, it's not fair to them for me to reach out every time, be like, hey, you want to come run the stream? Oh, you can't. All right, now I have a backup plan. Oh, that you can't either. Now I have to figure it out for myself. And it's like, all right, if I can be a one-man shop for this, but you got to have the resources to do it. And it is not for everyone. It's, every event costs so much. I mean, I was talking to Tim Talmadge the other day because he flies out all those master level refs every time. I'm like, man, how do you afford that? He's like, if you want to put on a good event, you got to. I was like, well, it's not really a whether I want to thing. It's the availability on top of how much they cost.
Right. And that's the key, I got 2 more questions before we go ahead and wrap this up. One is the awards. I'm a sucker for awards because I think, a lot of people want to pull for cash, which is cool. Don't get me wrong. Love that. But for me, I like awards too, because, as you can see behind me, I got, some mantles back there. I like to sit there, and once I look at them, I kind of go, yeah, I remember that tournament. I remember I went there and did this, did that. Like, when I look at my Kansas City medals from the year I went there, it was like, oh yeah, I pulled Roger Learn, beat him 3-2 in the super match. And, certain things, just kind of stick out. So when you design your medals,
you want one of these bad boys. These are only for pros. The amateurs in other classes, they get the 3-inch version of this. Exactly the same. It's just 3 inches instead of 5. So
right.
But yeah, I mean, what were you saying whenever I designed them? What?
Yeah, I mean, how do you come up with the design?
So for like this one, for example, I looked at what does the X Games do, because the whole thing was Fallen Heroes X, Fallen Heroes, yeah, Fallen Heroes 10. Um, and then the last year medal, I don't have one up here, but they were 6 inches.
Mhm.
I had a little bit more money because I didn't pay anybody for super matches really last year. Um, so I kind of used the same design, but I kind of come up with a general idea. I'll show you another medal. This might be my favorite medal, and this is for the final event this year for the BMF series. But this one is just the
Ooh.
BMF series logo, and I love this thing. I mean, it is awesome. That one was easy to design. I just sent them. I was like, I want this logo on a medal. And they're like, okay, we can do that. And then this one, I was like, I want an X. I want an eagle, because that's kind of been our the very first Fallen Heroes I did. We gave away eagle awards, like
Right.
giant eagle statues. Um, and I was like, I want it to be Fallen Heroes. I wanted to have the American flags. I wanted to have the blue and red for firefighters and police officers, and you know just kind of, it's either I come up with a design myself or I describe like the general idea of what I want, and then they come up with something and we edit it over and over again.
Katie Henke says, "Oh, that's a cool medal." Lucky's like, "Nice, Ryan." And again, because those, I'm telling you, I like how more promoters are up in their game. Like, there's still some promoters out there that are like, "Yeah, cash is good, but I want to put out good medals where people come back."
Yeah,
You
I
know,
can't give away enough cash to get people's attention. Like
right?
you have to give. So I have 8 classes. Let's say I go that down to 5. If I give
Mhm.
away $200 per class, that's $2,000 just in cash, and that maybe pays $100 to first place. No one's going to even pay attention to that event.
Right.
A cool medal, people pay attention to that. You can take that home, put on your mantle. You know, the same idea we talked about in the past with the axes and stuff. I wish those weren't so cost prohibitive anymore, because they go great with everything. But that's why I spend the time. You know, you see guys like Sean Hancock who are doing nice medals every time now, and I feel like I started 10 years ago giving away nice awards because I knew that that was part of the formula to get people back. And that, I saw Michigan State do that, and I was like, all right, I need to do that, type thing. And then it started evolving into nice posters, nice flyers, nice super match flyers. And now it's a whole production for each event. And I spend the time creating these medals because that's how you differentiate yourself. A standard metal, you can see them. A lot of people are using nice metals, but they just don't have a lot of design to them. So I
Right.
want my metals to at least stand out if I'm going to give
Yeah.
them out. I want them to be a metal I want to take home.
And that's the thing. So when you have them that big, it's like that. What's that saying goes? Go big or go home. So
Yeah.
I get that, but it's like when you see, like right now, statues is good too. Bigger medals and statues are the top two. Well, I guess you could say belts too. I mean, I think we're kind of done with the hammer thing. That was kind of, it was hot for a second, and it kind of just, fizzled out. But
Yeah.
when you talk about statues, you go, ooh, Gorilla, Michigan State. The big Bisons, you go to Ottawa Open. The Dragons, I got 2 of them back here. You go to Winter Blast. I think Florida had Gator statues at one point or something like that.
But you see those not last because those get more and more expensive over time. I can only imagine what Steve Pettis is spending on those gorillas anymore. But when you get 500 entries, it's easy to justify the expense because, let's say each of those gorillas cost $200. You need 15 entries per class. He can know on average he's probably going to get that.
Right.
So, it's a cost benefit analysis for this stuff where I don't know if I'll get 5 entries per class at any given tournament. I've been
Cool.
lucky. I've gotten over 200 entries at almost every event for the past 3 years, but I comp so many entries. I give refs entries. I give people who need help entries. I put it out there at every event. If I want you here, I'd rather you be here in arm wrestling rather than stay home because you can't afford it. Reach out and let me know. And you know, I probably comp 40 or 50 entries every event.
Right. I mean, and look at it. I mean, Lucky says the lady still loves the hammers, but she wants the belt so bad. You're talking to a person who already owns, I think, 2 those gorilla statues anyway. So there you go. And again, I can't, stress enough that traveling, you want to see what it's like because it's like I tell people now. I was telling some of my teammates, I say, y'all don't understand. Like when I go to Kansas City, it's a different vibe, different pullers. It's just a different style. You got cycle arm sports out there, and does Nebraska and cycle, do they have like a thing going, a rival or somewhat?
No, not really. It would probably be more my guys having a rivalry with them, like Don Underwood and Wallace and
Mhm.
Steven and Isaac Russell and me and a guy named Jeremy Rechtenbach always have good matches. And um, you know, some of the guys out of Bo, like Cody Vanderwood and Jeremy, have good matches, but with Bo being out right now, it's not really, and they don't butt heads. Everybody gets along great. We're all really in the same boat of trying to build arm wrestling around here, and Nebraska
Yeah,
supports me really well because I support them. And I wouldn't say it's rivalries in the sense of we have good matches, but nobody
yeah.
really dislikes each other.
No, I meant rivals as far as like, oh man, we all gotta unite because Nebraska's coming. Come on, y'all, we gotta get this win over
Oh yeah.
here. Like
I wish
all
Nebraska is what Missouri used to be. We used to have Nick Zena, Don Underwood, uh,
Stephen
Ethan
Green.
Frisbee, Stephen Green. We used to have Ryan Clark. Me. We had Bill Logsdon, Stephen Logsdon. Basically every Austin Tevis. We used to have every class filled with a elite level puller, and then Steven retired because he blew his elbow out. Nick Nick never really took it that seriously, but he was just one of the top guys because he's so gifted at it. But
Right.
he had kids and didn't want to dedicate the time to it anymore. Woody's still out there. Don Underwood's still out there. Ryan Clark retired after he tore his rotator cuff in his left arm. Austin Tevis semi-retired. He tells me he's coming back, but he hasn't been back since he tore his rotator cuff really. And then Bo dealing with his cancer, so he's not going to be arm wrestling super competitive. I still think he wants to arm wrestle, but he can't take it as seriously as he ever did right now. So really, that just leaves like Steven Logsdon and me and a couple other guys here and there. But the Nebraska guys have stepped up and taken the mantle of the serious guys now. So it's
Right.
nice having Easton, and it's nice having um, Isaac and Wallace and those other guys to come down here and pull, because they don't have as many events up there. So they come down to all my events and pull because they know that I'll get them matches. I'll get them talent to pull, the ways to get their name out there. And they come down here and I keep supporting them because they support me, and it just works out well.
And that's what it's all about. One last question. With the BMF you got going on 20, is that right hand or left hand?
Both.
Oh, both. Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know if it was just only right and okay.
I can't discriminate one arm over the other. I mean, I think the left is mostly for holding the peg, but my left arm can win at certain
Wow.
times. Trust me, my left has been good. I've won a nationals left-handed, but I still prefer that one to be holding the peg.
Right. No, I mean, and I get it. I'll just be on the group of the other guys. So, oh, Lucky says before we get off, she says, "Are you still doing a ladies BMF?"
Oh yeah, of course. Shauna Wagner's won the BMF and Triple Crown that I've put on so far. She got the mini pink belt last year. I would love to do great big women's awards, but we just can't get a consistent women showing. Although our last event, we did have 8 or 9 good quality women in our event. Mary McConaughey, if you don't know who she is a former world
Legend.
champion. Oh yeah, she's been coming out and polling, and she's coming down to
Oh,
support Bo.
good, good. I haven't seen her in years. Yeah, but no, she's another legend. Like, do your homework, ladies. Mary McConaughey, super legend in sports. So,
Oh yeah,
well, my friend,
multiple time world champion, and just great to have around here.
yes. Well, my friend, it's that time. We've been over here an hour and 13 minutes or so, give or take. But I just want to say thank you. And now that I've been tagged in that, I'm gonna go ahead and repost that. So now we got the more updated roster for the tournament stuff. So everybody, March 21st, come on down. Support Bo, support Safe, support Ryn Johnston. Just support arm wrestling. We got some good athletes down there, men and women and
Oh
youth.
yeah,
You got a
yes,
youth
yes.
class, right?
Oh yeah, everything.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
come,
So
you tell me a class, I'll figure out how to have it, disabled or whatever. If we have enough pullers to fill it, I'll do it. So
there you go.
but 100% of the proceeds from Fallen Heroes goes to 50% to Bo, 50% to Safe, which is first responders that die in the line of duty. So it's a great event. So anybody who can come out and support us, come support us.
There you go. My friend, it's been a pleasure as always, and I will see you soon.
Yeah, see you then. You bringing your wife, right?
I was trying to, but who knows? I was like, babe, let's go. Well, I don't know. Yes, we'll see. I mean,
Tell her,
I'll be there for sure. So
tell her the beach is great this time of year in Kansas City, so she'll love it.
I'll run that by her because she likes well. How warm is it going to be? Because she's
At least 90. It's March.
there. You go. All right, my friend. We'll talk to you soon. I'll probably talk to you before that, though.
All right, sounds great. Thanks.
All right, take care. There you go. March 21st, Kansas City, Missouri. All like you said, proceeds go to Safe, go to Bo Olsen. Again, I was there a few years back, had a great time and stuff. If he said that was one of the worst ones, and I thought that was pretty badass, I couldn't imagine what this one's going to be about. But I'm excited to be there. So yeah, check out Kansas City Arm Wrestling on YouTube. Everything will be live there. So y'all, I will see you when I see you. Y'all enjoy yourselves.